part of the produce would exist in the shape of necessaries, a lesser part in the shape of luxuries, or what comes to the same, a lesser part would be exchanged for foreign luxuries and be consumed in its original form, or what again comes to the same, a greater part of the native produce would be exchanged for foreign necessaries instead of luxuries. The general rise in the rate of wages would therefore, after a temporary disturbance of market prices, only result in a general fall in the rate of profit without any permanent change in the prices of those commodities. If I am told that in the previous argument I assume the whole of surplus wages to be spent on necessaries, I answer that I have made the supposition most advantageous to the opinion of Citizen Weston. If surplus wages were spent upon articles formerly not entering into the consumption of working men, the real increase of their purchasing power would need no proof. Being, however, only derived from an advance of wages, that increase of their purchasing power must exactly correspond to the decrease of purchasing power of capitalists. The aggregate demand for commodities would therefore not increase, but the constituent parts of that demand would change. The increasing demand on the one side would be counterbalanced by the decreasing demand on the other side. Thus, the aggregate demand remaining stationary, no change whatever could take place in the market prices of commodities. You arrive, therefore, at this dilemma. Either the surplus wages are equally spent upon all articles of consumption, then the expansion of demand on the part of the working class must be compensated by a contradiction or a contraction of demand on the part of the capitalist class. Or the surplus wages are only spent upon articles whose market prices will temporarily rise. The consequent rise in the rate of profit in some, and consequent fall in the rate of profit in other branches of industry, will produce a change in the distribution of capital and labor going on until the supply is brought up to the increased demand in the one department of industry and brought down in the diminished demand in the other department of industry. On the supposition there will occur no change in the prices of commodities, on the other supposition, after some fluctuations of market prices, the exchangeable values of commodities will subside to the former level. On both suppositions, the general rise in the rate of wages will ultimately result in nothing else but a general fall in the rate of profit. To stir up your powers of imagination, Citizen Weston requested you to think of difficulties which a general rise of English agricultural wages from 9 shillings to 18 shillings would produce. Think, he explained, of the immense rise in the demand for necessaries and the consequent fearful rise in their prices. Now, all of you know the average wages of the American agricultural laborer amount to more than double the English agricultural laborer, although the prices of agricultural produce are lower in the United States than in the United Kingdom, although the general relations of capital and labor obtained in the United States are the same as in England, and although the annual amount of production is much smaller in the United States than in England. Why then does our friend ring this alarm bell? Simply to shift the real question before us. A sudden rise of wages from 9 shillings to 18 shillings would be a sudden rise to the amount of 100%. Now, we are not at all discussing the question of whether the general rate of wages in England could be suddenly increased by 100%. We have nothing at all to do with the magnitude of the rise, which in every practical instance must depend on and be suited to given circumstances.